Oh, you were waiting for me? Yeah, I always start the stream like half an hour early, but I do it as a scheduled start so that so this starts at 5:30 on the dot. But you can like sit in the waiting room for half an hour if you want to. But hi everybody. I got new shop glasses, safeties. They're big and they're nerdy, but they're blue and I like them. And they got the sides, which does make them a wee bit hot, a wee bit stuffy. Hey, Kevin. Definitely steaming up in here a little bit in the heat of Southern California. But it's a lot better than wearing my regular glasses in the shop, which is what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And it's not really safe. So these are prescription, so I can see, and also protect my eyeballs. So yeah. Last week we turned this super awesome hobby knife, and I've been using it as my personal knife for, sorry, that wasn't last week, that was 2 weeks ago. So last week I had a migraine. Really sorry about last week. I was just really not feeling good. I get migraines every so often, and if you get them, you know they can be debilitating. So yeah, 2 weeks ago we made this Purple Rain X-Acto hobby knife, and I like it a lot. I've been using it quite a bit. So thanks, Pimey. So yeah, I really love this. I've been using it constantly, and one of the other things is on that live stream we prepped and repaired these two. So if you'll remember, this one I had found in a drawer and it was already drilled and happened to be the right size for an X-Acto. It's a what is this blank? This is Beyond the Sea. Sometimes I have to even remind myself. So this is Beyond the Sea with a bit of Manzanita burl, and if I remember right, this came off the block like at an angle or something, so by the time I squared it up it was way too skinny to sell. And then we have this hempwood one, and this one did a weird thing where I think, this is just a theory, so I think that what happened with this guy is that I probably glued it before leaving for a show like Mid-Atlantic, Turner's Expo, or SWAT, or something like that, Nashville, something. I glued it before one of those. Probably glued it the morning of my flight. Got on a flight. It probably wasn't cured yet. Flew to wherever I flew. Turned it for a demonstration. Flew back. And then it sat on the shelf waiting for attention again. And in all of that abuse that it saw, the brass tube came loose. And it came out completely clean. I went to sand it, and the brass tube just went whoop. So we glued the brass tube back in, and now we got to clean this up and get that going. So that is that. So we'll do both of those today, and then I'm thinking next week we get crazy. I got this piece of Fordite from Cliff. If you know Cliff Lounsbury, he does great stuff. It's actually two pieces cast together with some like cool purple color. But it's not a lot of resin. You can see there's just like this streak of resin right here. The rest of it's pretty solid Fordite, a little bit on the edge, but that'll turn away. So I think we'll do like an Apollo with this, or maybe an Artemis, and that'll be next week's live. Oh, actually, next Sunday is Father's Day. So I wanted your guys' opinion on, yeah, Cliff has great stuff. I wanted your guys' opinion on if we should move this live stream, because we missed for Mother's Day, we're gonna miss for Father's Day, and then there's all kinds of other like Sunday night stuff, and then when football rolls around, I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna be watching football, so we're gonna have to pick a day that's not like every damn holiday falling on it, and also football season, which is a holiday. So we gotta think about a new day. I like Sundays because it's like, no, go Eagles! Go Birds! Kevin, Kevin, you are blocked. You are You're not my friend anymore. Sorry. Go Birds. But yeah, so, God, Cowboys, gross. Okay, not Tuesdays. Yeah, see, that, it's so tough. It's, like, tough to find a time that works for everybody. I like doing Sundays, because then it's, like, kind of a cap off of the weekend, starting the week off on the right foot kind of thing. So, I don't know, but we'll think about it. We don't have to come up with a solution right now. So, well, I was going to show you guys something else. I can't remember. Whatever. I'll remember eventually. Yeah, I mean, Fridays is cool, except, like, I don't know, sometimes I go out on Fridays, you know? Maybe Wednesdays? I don't know. I feel like there's no real solution to this. I'm just grabbing Thursdays sound great. Okay. I think we're gonna have to do a poll or something, because this is, you know, not awesome. Jacob's Chuck, sanding jig. I got my sanding block on here. Let me flip you guys around. Yeah, Thursday night football. I mean, really, it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays, really, if we're just trying to avoid football. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but then, of course, Fridays is like, you know, Friday night. And I guess there's not really football on Saturdays, usually. There's college football, but there's not typically NFL, but we'd have to do, like, Saturday during the day or something. Oh, that's cute. I like that she does that. I wish I had a consistent thing. So real quick, we're going to take the knife that we made to clean up the knives we're about to make. So this is a pretty simple thing I do. Some people plug the ends with, I don't know, Play-Doh, potato. I've seen all kinds of stuff, dental wax. I don't find the need for any of that. I just get a sharp X-Acto in there and pry out the little bit of epoxy that's left. If I really, really need to, I will, I'll get a drill bit out and ream this, but I typically don't need to. Sorry, it's hard to keep this in frame and also, like, make sure I don't cut myself, so I'm going to prioritize my safety and not the shot. Sometimes I could just, like, pry this out. I will say it is harder on smaller tubes, but, like, on a cap of a junior, this is very easy. Come on, you little shit. There it goes. It also kind of helps if you do this, like, before it cures all the way, because you could kind of, like, use its own pliability to get it out, but we are not so lucky this time. So we might need to go get a drill bit, which is fine. It's really in there. Let's see what we can do with this side. Yeah, you can see all that epoxy coming out of there. Yeah, there we go. So because this is an 8mm tube, a 7mm bit fits perfectly in here. Let me go ahead and get that. Or if you can't find your 7mm bit, then a 1/4" bit will do. Give me 1 second to get a drill. I'm gonna move you guys over to the other camera location. Alright, so hopefully you can see what's going on now. So I've got a 1/4 inch bit in here, and I'm just going to ream this out. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's still a little bit of epoxy mush in there, so just gonna get that out real quick. That's much better. It's not perfect, but it's much better. And then while we're at it, we might as well just do this one while we've got it out. Beautiful. Just a little bit left. Close enough. Alrighty. Hi. So, I've got our punch set here. This is just the set from, where's this from? Penn State. The set from Penn State, and I'm just gonna find a punch that fits, you know, in there. And unfortunately, I think that the one that I need is the one that's missing, but we'll go one size down and we'll just be careful. So, let me move you again. Alrighty. Hope you love the shop mess. So, what we do here is we take our punch, we put it, let me just get that. We put it in this jig, tighten it down. And now we have two perpendicular surfaces here and here. And our blank can ride along the punch, and we will get a perpendicular sanding surface. Pretty sexy little jig. You just want to go until you can see the brass. And I can hear the difference, but some folks might need to check. We're going to do the same thing here just to get that excess epoxy off. No, this is a Rick Harrell jig. I will, I'll tell you guys about Rick in a second. There you go. Okay, so Rick Harrell. Rick is a really good dude. He is the... Hold on. Just being stupid. Okay. There we go. So Rick Harrell is a gentleman who has been on the IAP website for years, selling all kinds of great jigs and tools. He does step drill bits. He does these sanding jigs. He made my tool rest. He's all around just a pretty darn great machinist, and it makes a lot of stuff for the turning folks. Oh, that is not in the right spot. Interesting. Okay. Somebody's been messing with my stuff. I don't like it. Okay, so yeah, Rick's great. You should definitely check him out. I love the sanding jig. I have used it for years. Hey, what's up, Robert? Yeah, I've used the sanding jig for years. I think it's absolutely the best thing on the market for doing for squaring blanks. And if I didn't, I would make something better. But you can't make something better because it's really good. So we're going to start with this hempwood guy because it only really needs to be cleaned up. And then we'll move on to the hybrid one. So let's get you guys kind of at a good angle. I will get you a contact for Rick. You can only get a hold of him through the IAP. He doesn't have a website. He literally just does everything through his own, page on IAP. So he's not, the easiest to track down, especially if you're not active on, the IAP forum. And this is why we were trying to clean out more of that epoxy, was because this is actually getting bound up in there. Because Brian from TBC Bushings does such a phenomenal job machining these that there's not enough slop to account for that epoxy. So let me just ream this out a little bit more. See if I can't clean it up. There we go, close enough now. It'll probably get stuck when we go to, yeah, I have the step bits as well. Personally, I do not like using them. I prefer to just drill it the old-fashioned way. But I do have a set of the step bits. And I know a lot of people who prefer using those than doing all of the drill steps. So to each their own. I will never tell somebody that their way is the wrong way unless it's not safe. So we're spinning at about 3,000 RPM. I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in a little bit so you get a better look at this hempwood. And to be honest, I probably don't even need the round carbide. I could probably just clean it up with the square. All right, we are at the bushings on both sides of this. So I think that this is fine to go ahead and sand. And I know that wasn't all that exciting or anything because we did most of this last time, but at least now we're all cleaned up and this is ready to go. The problem with forcing a bushing in there is that it will get stuck, but at least we're done now. And now we can move on to our hybrid blank. Same bushings. We sell these at Bullseye, but they're also the same as the Tiny Giant, if you have that, which is also known as the Editor. This is going to be the same situation where one end is a little stuck, but I'm just going to make do with it and kick myself later. So cinematic. So now we're totally round, and we already have this kind of natural belly here because of this manzanita. And so probably actually want this to be the business end. I think that'll look nice. So we'll kind of keep a little curvature in here and then taper down this end. This one's definitely significantly thinner than the hempwood one, but we also started a lot thinner, so. All right. Both of our ends are nice and flush. Just, I don't know how I feel about the middle right now. It feels like it's maybe a little fat. I didn't want to lose the burl, but let me see if I can thin it out a little. I think that's better. I kind of moved the bump back a little bit by thinning this out down here. And it feels, I mean, I'm not left-handed, but that grip feels pretty decent. So I think that will work. Alrighty. Let me just go ahead and get us cleaned up a little bit here because it's sort of crazy. And I would traditionally vacuum at this point in the process, but I'm not going to subject you guys to vacuum noise. So now what we're going to do, and what I do on every single pen, is I take it off of the bushings. Oh yeah, I forgot that we forced that one on. So I'm just going to use some pliers and get that off. It's not ideal, and it will damage your bushings a little bit, but sometimes you're gonna make do. So now I'm actually gonna take these centers out Oh, that's crazy. I like manzanita a lot. I think it's a great looking wood, especially the burls. That's crazy. I guess it's talking about the leaves there, huh, Pymie? So I'm gonna put in these non-stick TBC mandrels that I literally only use for finishing. They're just the TBC mandrels with non-stick bushings on them. They're pretty sucky for turning. If you wanted to put like your regular bushings on here instead of getting TBC bushings, these are kind of sucky. They don't the dead center, for all intents and purposes, is fine, but the live center, the bearings wear out really fast. So it'll be good for like, I don't know, the first couple dozen that you do, and then it'll start to wobble. But that's mostly if you're putting all the pressure on it from turning, where it doesn't see nearly as much abuse if you're only using it for finishing. So they've lasted me several years at this point. And I've only really ever had to replace the non-stick bushings a couple of times because they work out really nicely. So I am considering a friction polish on this. I've never done a friction polish on a hybrid, so I don't know. Chewing on the leaves can relieve headaches. Oh my gosh, I should plant some manzanita bush. Is it a tree? A bush? For some reason, I feel like it's a shrub of some kind. I actually don't know what the plant looks like. I'm very good at identifying different wood species from what they look like on the inside. But as far as identifying trees from the outside, I'm not very good at that. So I'm just going to sand this very lightly with 400 grit just to get any of these tool marks out. But it's actually very smooth. And if I was doing a CA finish, I probably wouldn't even sand it at all. But in this particular case, since I am considering... Hold on. Are you guys... Is this blurry? Wow, 20 feet tall. That's a lot bigger than I expected. This feels like it looks blurry to me. And like it's not focused on the right thing, but I don't know how to fix it, so I apologize. So lathe is at 1,000 and change, and we're just gonna get a nice gentle sand on here and get these tool marks out. It's kind of hard to get into that little spot right there. Gotta do your best. Alright, hopefully that's good enough. I don't like sanding resin. I would much rather polish it. But this is definitely an experiment to see how the friction polish comes out on a hybrid. So. Alrighty. Let's wipe that down with some alcohol and get a little glimpse of what it's going to look like. Trying to... These two towels are stuck together, so I'm trying to get them apart. I'm not having a lot of success. There's definitely two of them there. Come here, you jerk. There we go. Ooh-wee! Man, that looks nice. Manzanita really darkens up. I'll give it another little wipey wipe. God damn. That is good looking. Ooh-wee. I like that. Alright. So now we're going to get out the Mylans sanding sealer with a nice silicone cap that our friend Brian from TBC Bushings custom made for me because he's such a nice guy and because the the original cap was like basically gluing itself to the bottle all the time, and I had to use the channel locks to get it off because I have very tiny hands. Now, technically, sanding sealer is not going to do anything to resin, but for simplicity's sake, we're just wiping the whole blank. And now I'm just shaking up the Doctor's Woodshop Pens Plus, which is a friction polish. And I'm going to put the lathe back up to about 2,500-ish. So that I can get enough friction for the friction polish to actually do its thing. And you don't need a whole lot for this. So like just the minimal amount on a little towel is going to be fine. So like that much. And I like to kind of saturate it first and then really work it in. And as it starts to heat up, that's when the shine comes out. Now, you're not going to get nearly as glossy with this as you are with CA. But it's a nice satin to semi-gloss kind of finish. And it feels a lot more natural in the hand, especially on woods. So we'll see. And sometimes I just get sick of doing CA, you know? Like, I love a CA finish. I just don't love doing a CA finish. But also, like, there's a lot to be said for actually feeling the wood instead of just a plastic cover on it. Or a plastic coating. So I think that looks pretty freaking amazing, to be honest. I mean, it helps that the Manzanita's stabilized. We stabilize all of our burls, everything that goes into a hybrid, so wow. That looks great. Let me see if I can get you guys a better look at it. Yeah. There you go. It's got some great mica powder, like, shimmer going on in it, too. I love it. I think it looks great. Hey, Vinny. A little late to the party there, pal. Not just kidding. Just the fact that you guys show up to watch this every week means a lot. It really does. And I hope that you know that. It feels really nice. So I'll use and abuse it and see how that holds up. And now we can go ahead and get this guy worked out. I think that camera angle looks a little bit better for you guys, so you can stay right where you're at. And we will start at about 1,000, 1,100-ish and do some sanding. We're going to start this one with 240 grit because it is hempwood. And even though it's relatively smooth, hempwood wants to like prickle. Just the nature of the beast. It's millions of hemp fibers smashed together in a hydraulic press. So the more favors you can do for it, the better. You don't want to abuse this material. You know, be nice to it. I like to say hempwood is a classy lady. You have to take it to dinner first. You know? Go on a couple of dates. Take it slow. It's looking really good. Hempwood does get a bad rap, but the reason it gets a bad rap is, in my opinion, and I've probably worked with it more than anybody, it gets a bad rap because people don't know how to work with it. And I've tried to educate folks about how to work with it, and we've perfected the stabilizing to the point where now we stabilize for Hempwood as a company as their, like, house stabilizers, because nobody does it better than us. It's a material that requires patience. It's similar to Fordite. It's layers and layers and layers, right? And if you treat it like it's a solid, then you're going to have a bad time. If you treat it like it's a million pieces smashed together with some glue, and you sand it like it's a million pieces, and you finish it like it's a million pieces, as opposed to, pretending that it's maple, then you're going to have a better time. We do have a little bit of tear out here, but I'm not going to worry about it because we're going to use the sanding sealer, so it's very minimal. So let's get some isopropyl on here. I sanded it with 240 and then 400. And so now we can get our little wipe down. And I've had a lot of success with CA finishes on Hempwood, especially like a boiled linseed oil base coat and then a CA. But the sanding sealer has also been working out really great for the Hempwood with the friction polish. It's not going to be nearly as durable as a CA finish, and a CA will really help bind those fibers together. But the sanding sealer and the sanding sealer itself is sort of taking that role here, because it's going to help take all of those fibers and make sure they get to know each other again after we just put it through all the abuse of turning and sanding it and making them get all angry, if that makes sense. So I'm definitely being very liberal with my sanding sealer here. Usually I would only do like kind of one coat, but that was definitely 3 consecutive wipes with the sanding sealer, and you can see it already looks amazing. So let's get the Pens Plus back out and another little piece of blue towel. Get ourselves a little dollop of daisy and crank up our speed so we can get the friction we need. Right? Yeah, baby. And you can still see some of the lines from the radial lines. So I kind of like to give it a little hand buff, which definitely knocks down the sheen a little bit, but it evens everything out. Yeah, I think that's sexy. That looks so good. Let's see if we can't get that where we can, yeah, rotisserie style. Look at that. That's the money shot right there. Look at how beautiful that is. So, one of the other reasons why I wouldn't want to do a CA finish in this particular case is just because of the curvatures. It's, sorry, my glasses are fogging up. I personally have a tendency to sand through a CA finish on little bumps like this, where this, the friction polish, it's way more of a flawless finish. It's not as shiny, but I kind of like it. Because you can still feel that it's wood, you know? You can still feel... And hold on, I gotta show you guys this. Give me 1 second. Get you flipped around. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see the chatoyance in these like individual fibers. Especially this side. I feel like this side's really like really good. It's got its own like mini chatoyance in each fiber, which I think is pretty sick. So with friction polish, it does end up nicer. Whoa, sorry, I flipped the camera the wrong way. Friction polish actually works out a lot better if you let it sit overnight and you come back and do one more coat the next day. So I'm going to take both of these and put them on the rack until tomorrow, and I'll come back and do that second coat. In the meantime, I know this is that we went through both of those really fast because they were already turned. Well, I guess that the hybrid wasn't, but that's okay. I want to show you guys what we've been up to. The shop is a wreck. What else is new? But let me show you what Dad and I worked on today. So it might not look, hold on, let me zoom out. It might not look like we did much, but when we cut this hole, we left a big gap here that now we have framed out on both sides, which is also nice because all of these little shiplap pieces were trying to fall off. So now they're on here, and I just have to put a coat of paint on it to seal it up. So yeah, now we have structure, and structure is good. We also have power, and power is good. So now both the mill and the lathe are fully operational. We finished wiring them yesterday, and they are both up and running. There's obviously a lot of tooling to buy. There's a lot of work holding to buy. We got some of that when we purchased these, but we didn't get nearly everything that we need. So it'll definitely be a process as we come online. But I also want to show you what we're doing with the doors. So it's not just going to be a hole in the wall. I'm actually working on some half-lap joints. They are my first ever half-lap joints. So they are not as sexy as they could be, but we're learning. And we're going to... Do I have my drawing out here? No, I think I took my drawing inside. But basically, I'm making solid redwood doors for that big hole, and they're going to be beautiful. And the bottom of those doors is going to be this beautiful 2x12 that is curly AF. The lighting is not really good enough for you guys to see just how curly this is. I know you can see the ripples, but the way it shimmers in the light is just amazing. So the bottom of the doors will have this beautiful curl. And then I think what I'm going to do, if you guys remember, I posted a photo of another piece of curly redwood that we found and saved from Home Depot. And that piece is really thin. It's only like, I want to say 5/16. That doesn't sound right. 5/8. It must be 5/8. That makes more sense. So it's pretty thin, and it would be fine to cut up for pen blanks or whatever, and I might use the scraps for that. But I'm doing some kind of cross member stuff, diagonal bracing on the doors, similar to a barn door, and I think I'm going to use that curly piece for at least the upper diagonals, so that I can see the curl at the bottom and the curl at the top. Every time I go in and out of those doors, every single day, I'm going to see all that curly stuff, which I think is great and very exciting for sure. I think that's all I got for you guys. I mean, we could press these together, but you know, we did that last week. It's not rocket science. But I think next week I'm going to get this Fordite prepped for you guys. Sorry, I keep saying next week, but next week is Father's Day. Whenever I see you next, we will do the Fordite and I'll get it prepped, and I think it's going to be pretty darn awesome. I got 3 of these, so we might prep all 3, we might do 1 or 2, I don't know, but they're all pretty spectacular. I mean, this is the 3 of them, so they're all pretty amazing. Really you can't go wrong with any of them. And I also got from Cliff, let me see if I can find it. Oh, I don't know where I put them. But I got another set of Fordite that looks like, I think it's like oh, here it is. It's like almost all white. It's got like a little bit of orange in there, but it's mostly white. So that's pretty crazy. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. It's a little short. Let's see how long it is. Get my ruler out. Yeah, it's like basically just over 5 inches. So it's not really gonna work for an Apollo unless we do a lot of segmenting, which is fine. But that's a little something to play with. Brian, I've been talking you up all stream. I was just talking about how much I love the caps you made, and we were talking about your bushings as well. Guys, if you aren't buying your bushings from Turn Between Centers Bushings, TBC Bushings, Brian, you need to be. Brian doesn't pay me. He's just a nice guy, and he does really good work. So we like nice people, and we like people who do good work. So anytime I find someone who's both of those things, they're a winner. Okay, well, I think that's it for tonight. Me and my giant new shop glasses are going to bid you adieu. Don't forget, they're well, dude, you sent me product, it's fine. I actually owe you money for that. So if you do any casting, all of our eye candy micas are on sale this month. It's my birthday month. I am turning 33 in 2 weeks, which is very scary and exciting. Yeah, so all eye candy is 40% off. And then we also just recently started carrying the stainless bottle stoppers collet chuck. Man, words are hard. So we have the collet chucks in stock. We only have a handful left, but as soon as they sell out, I will order more. They do not come with collets, but we are working on getting collets in stock. But you can get collets pretty much anywhere. That's not like, it's not that crazy of a thing. But if you haven't seen these, we have them in the 1.25, 1 1/4 by 8, and the 1 by 8. I use a 1 1/4 by 8 for my Harvey lathe, but most of the MIDI lathes are going to take the 1 by 8. If you have a big boy lathe, it'll take the 1 1/4, but make sure you double check before you order, because they're heavy and it would be annoying to send it back. We will always exchange it, but you know, get it right the first time. I think that's it. I think I've been sassy enough for one night. I love you guys. I am still blown away that this group shows up every week to watch these. So thank you. Our pizza arrived a little while ago, so Joe has probably eaten all of his, and I need to go make sure I get some pizza. So, like I said, I love you guys. We'll talk soon, and we'll figure out a new day for the stream since we keep canceling it for things like Father's Day and other holidays. So, all right. Bye, guys.